Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. If you're watching this, please tap that like button and subscribe now, because we're about to dive into a story that's stirring emotions, politics, and controversy across Nigeria. So here's the headline we're unpacking. If Tinubu did not intervene in this matter, Nnamdi Kanu will remain in prison. Nigerians share opinions. Right off the bat, this statement raises massive questions. What intervention is being talked about? Why is everyone suddenly saying that without Tinubu, Kanu stays locked up? What's really going on behind the scenes? Let's talk it through, in simple terms, so everyone watching can follow along. Over the past few days, voices have grown louder about the condition of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra. Some people, especially within Kanu's camp and among his supporters, are pushing the narrative that only a direct intervention from President Bola Tinubu can change his status in custody. His health, his legal predicament, even his treatment while detained, all of these are being tied to the idea that without presidential will, nothing moves. One of the loudest warnings has come from Representative Obi Agwocha, who says Kanu's health is deteriorating dangerously, that he's on the verge of death, and that Tinubu needs to step in and have him moved from the DSS facility to a tertiary hospital. Agwocha claims to have forwarded medical reports to the President, to the Attorney General, and even to the Speaker of the House. That's a serious claim, because it suggests that not only is Kanu's health at risk, but that political will is now being made a condition for his survival. At the same time, courts are pushing ahead. A recent court decision has affirmed that Kanu must face terrorism charges, meaning his case isn't going away. Over time, Kanu's trial has been passed around to multiple judges. He's still contesting bail and still denying wrongdoing. So we have two overlapping tracks now. On one hand, supporters demanding executive intervention, as though only Tinubu can flip a switch and free or relocate Kanu. On the other, the judicial process that insists there's a legal path, boundaries, charge and defense, court rules to follow. Which brings us to the heart of this headline. Many Nigerians are saying, if Tinubu doesn't intervene, Kanu stays in prison. That view has sparked debate. Is that true? And if it is, what does it say about separation of powers, about justice, about political influence? Let me share what people are saying across the country. Supporters and activists are echoing that message. It's only the president who holds the keys to Kanu's fate. They see the law being twisted, or at least delayed, and so they call on Tinubu to act, not just on mercy, but on justice and human rights. Critics and commentators argue that this framing risks undermining the judiciary. They warn that if the president can just fix Kanu's case by intervention, it sets a dangerous precedent, one where legal processes are bypassed by whoever holds power. Some are more worried. Is Kanu being used as a political pawn? Is his detention now less about evidence, more about control? These voices fear the situation is being weaponized. Others suggest that even if Tinubu intervenes, it may be too little, too late. Because the legal gears are already in motion, courts have declared that the case will proceed. On top of all this, there is mobilization on the streets. A peaceful protest has been scheduled for October 20, 2025, calling for Kanu's release. The World Igbo Congress and other organizations are pushing for nationwide participation, saying Kanu's detention isn't just his issue, but a matter of justice for all. But not everyone is on board. The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has cautioned against using protests to undermine judicial processes. Warning that while public pressure is okay, we must not trample the courts in the name of agitation. Now, here's the tension: public pressure versus institutional process. When people say, without Tinubu there is no freedom for Kanu, they are implicitly questioning whether the judiciary has the teeth or the will to break free from executive influence. Let's look at some possible scenarios. Tinubu intervenes, meaning, perhaps, a pardon, or a directive to authorities to transfer Kanu to hospital, or even to facilitate bail. If that happens, it would be historic, controversial, and likely spark outrage from those who see it as presidential override of court authority. Tinubu doesn't intervene, then Kanu remains in prison, possibly with deteriorating health, and the protests could escalate. That could heighten tension in southeast Nigeria, stir unrest, or lead to charges of neglect, human rights abuse, or worse. Partial intervention. Maybe the president orders a medical panel, or arranges better treatment but doesn't free him. That would be a middle path, but it might satisfy neither side fully. Now, what's more concerning is that while talk centers on Tinubu, we don't know exactly what power is being asked of him. Is it a pardon? Is it a medical relocation? Is it interference in judicial rulings? Each carries different implications for rule of law. Another related piece, Tinubu has recently granted pardons to 175 convicted persons, including for serious crimes like murder, armed robbery, human trafficking. That move has drawn sharp criticism, especially because people wonder why those criminals are getting mercy, while Kanu, whose trial is contentious and whose health is under question, remains in detention. Some see hypocrisy there, mercy for some, rigidity for others. So the question is Kanu in prison because the law demands it, or because politics demands it? Let me bring in one more twist. The Kenyan High Court earlier ruled that Kanu's rendition, when he was taken from Kenya to Nigeria, was unlawful, unconstitutional, and a violation of fundamental rights. Basically, Kenya said the way Nigeria got him back was illegal. That ruling adds moral and legal weight to calls for his release or at least fair treatment. And internationally, we also see pressure. Kanu's family and diaspora groups pressurize the UK government, since he holds British citizenship, to intercede. So the stage is crowded: courts, activists, politicians, medical reports, international voices. Now, I want you watching this to reflect. Do you believe in a strongman intervention when the judiciary seems stuck, or do you believe the courts must run their course, even if slow? If Tinubu intervenes, would that be just or dangerous for institutional integrity? If he doesn't act, who bears blame, the president, the judiciary, or society? Before we go on, drop a comment. Do you think Kanu will walk free because of Tinubu, or because the courts finally decide? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss any updates on this case. When we talk about Nnamdi Kanu's case, it's not just about one man. It's about what his story represents, the deeper issues of justice, trust, and power in Nigeria. His situation has become a mirror that reflects how the government, the judiciary, and the people interact in this country. You see, in every democratic system, the three arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, are supposed to operate independently. But in reality, in Nigeria, that line is often blurred. Many Nigerians believe that if you don't have someone in power pushing your case, you could stay behind bars for years. That's why so many people are saying now, if Tinubu doesn't step in, Kanu will remain there forever. Let's talk about why people feel that way. For years, high-profile political cases in Nigeria have always had two endings. One decided by the courts, and the other by political negotiation. We saw it with Omoyele Sowore, we saw it in cases involving former governors, even in the EFCC corruption trials. Sometimes it's not the law that decides the outcome, it's influence. And that's the sentiment that's playing out again now. But this time, it's more sensitive, because Kanu's case touches on ethnic tension, regional unity, and the feeling of marginalization in the southeast. Now, for context, since Kanu's rearrest in 2021, the southeast has been under constant tension. We've seen sit-at-home orders, we've seen economic loss, we've seen fear in the streets. Even though IPOB officially suspended the sit-at-home policy, many parts of the region still feel unsafe on Mondays. People are tired. Businesses are suffering. So, for them, the call to free Kanu isn't just emotional, it's economic, it's social, and it's about restoring normal life. But others are saying, wait, if the government releases Kanu just because people are protesting, won't that encourage others to use agitation to get attention? That's the other side of the coin. It's a question of precedent. If one man's pressure can move the presidency, won't others follow the same path? Still, many Nigerians are frustrated that our legal system is so slow that only political pressure seems to make anything happen. And this is why you hear comments like, without Tinubu's intervention, this man will rot in prison. Now, let's be honest, this isn't the first time Nigerians are calling for a president to intervene in a sensitive case. Remember when Buhari was under pressure to release Sheikh El-Zakzaky? It took years, and many protests, before that man was freed on health grounds. The situation now looks very similar, only this time, it's with a different president and a different region. So, what exactly are people expecting Tinubu to do? Some are saying he should grant Kanu a presidential pardon. Others are saying, no, just order that he be given proper medical treatment and allowed bail. There are even groups suggesting he should open a roundtable dialogue with Southeast leaders to resolve this once and for all, politically, not legally. Now, imagine this, if Tinubu comes out tomorrow and says, for the sake of national unity, I'm releasing Nnamdi Kanu, what do you think will happen? Some people will praise him, calling him a bridge builder and a peacemaker. They'll say he's wise for calming tension and showing compassion. But others, especially those in the security and legal sectors, will criticize it. They'll say he's interfering with an ongoing court process, that it sends the wrong message about the rule of law. That's why Tinubu's silence so far is strategic. He knows whatever he does, it will have political consequences. Let's not forget, Tinubu is trying to strengthen his political base across Nigeria. He's been reaching out to different regions, building alliances, and trying to prove he's a national leader, not just a southwestern president. So the decision on Kanu's case could either build his reputation or damage it. And let's also not ignore what's happening behind the scenes. Reports say that top Igbo politicians and religious leaders have been quietly lobbying the presidency. They are appealing not just for political reasons, but for humanitarian ones. They are saying, Mr. President, this man is sick, the tension is rising, and we need peace in our region. Now, when you connect that to the ongoing protests being planned for October 20th, you can see why this issue has suddenly become very urgent. The fear among some security agencies is that if those protests are not managed properly, it could lead to clashes, or worse, trigger a new wave of violence. At the same time, groups like the World Igbo Congress are saying, we are not calling for trouble, we just want justice. They believe that Kanu's case is now symbolic. If the government handles it well, it could bring reconciliation. But if handled wrongly, it could deepen distrust between the Southeast and the federal government. So, when Nigerians say, if Tinubu didn't intervene, Kanu would remain in prison, they are not only talking about the legal process, they are talking about how much faith they've lost in that process. They believe only the power of the presidency can change the story. But the truth is, no matter what happens, this case will shape Nigerian politics in the months ahead. Whether Tinubu intervenes or not, the outcome will tell us a lot about the direction of this government, whether it's one of compassion and dialogue or one of strict adherence to control and law enforcement. And let's be honest, Nigerians are watching closely. Every word, every silence, every move counts. Before we go further, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because in the next part, we'll go even deeper into what might happen next, what options Tinubu has legally, what the courts might decide, and what impact this could have on peace in the Southeast and Nigeria as a whole.